Beasts of No Nation, a true horror story, is about a West African boy named Agu who was forced to become a child soldier. When war came to his family's small village, Agu's mother and sister are able to leave with the UN peacekeepers, but Agu is ordered to stay behind and fight with his father and the other men of the village. When soldiers attack the village, the men realize that whether they hide or not, they will eventually be killed. They mount an attack, but Agu runs away at his father's wishes. His father is shot to death. Agu hides and is soon found by soldiers who coerce him to join their rebel force. In a bloody initiation, the commander forces him to kill an unarmed man. As Agu is forced to leave his childhood behind, he reminisces about the past, his family, his love of reading and school, his dream of becoming an important doctor, and how he used to read the Bible every day. He thinks about how he and his friend used to play at war and how this war is not the same. He fears that God hates him for killing others, but he soon forces himself to believe that this is what God wants, because he is soldier, and this is what soldiers do in war. He befriends a mute boy named Strika. Agu was used to it. He would run with his friends, kicking up dust on the dirt roads of his village. His laughter, high and bright, filled the air. At night, under the blanket of a million stars, his mother would tell him stories, tales of talking animals and mischievous spirits. He dreamed of becoming a teacher, of filling young minds with knowledge. Agu loved to learn. He would trace his finger under the words in his school book, his brow furrowed in concentration. His father, a strong man with calloused hands and a gentle smile, would pat him on the head. He would tell Agu stories of his own, stories of his grandfather and the old ways. Life was simple, peaceful, it was a good life. Agu never thought it would change. The war came like a sudden storm, swift and brutal. Whispers turned into shouts, fear rippling through the once peaceful village. The adults, their faces etched with worry, spoke in hushed tones. Agu didn't understand it. He didn't understand the fear that clung to his mother like a shroud. One day, the sky tore open. The ground trembled under the weight of distant explosions. Black smoke painted the horizon, a grim reminder of the approaching chaos. Panic seized the villagers. Families were separated in the chaos, mothers screaming for lost children. Agu clung to his mother's side, his small hand gripping her hand tightly. He had never felt so small, so insignificant. The rebels arrived in a flurry of violence, their faces contorted in a mask of aggression. Gunfire erupted, shattering the afternoon calm. The air grew thick with the stench of gunpowder and fear. Agu watched in horror as his neighbors, his friends, fell around him. Their blood stained the dusty ground a macabre red. His father pushed him and his mother towards the forest, his eyes filled with a desperate urgency. "Run!" he roared, his voice barely audible above the deafening roar of gunfire. "Don't look back! Run!" Agu never forgot the look on his father's face, the mixture of fear and resolve etched into his features. It was the last time he ever saw his father. The image of his father's face, frozen in that last desperate plea, haunted Agu. It was a memory seared into his mind, a constant reminder of the life he had lost. Lost and alone, Agu ran until his lungs burned and his legs screamed for mercy. He hid in the dense undergrowth, his small body trembling with terror. He was alone. His family, his friends, his entire world gone. He was a ghost wandering in a nightmare. Then they found him. The rebels, their faces hardened by violence, their eyes cold and unforgiving, they dragged him from his hiding place, their grip like iron. Agu was no longer a boy, not in their eyes. He was a recruit, another pawn in their bloody game. He was stripped of his name, his identity, and thrust into a world of violence and despair. They called him soldier now, but he was just a boy, a scared, lonely boy.